So another hospital has come under investigation over patient safety. Colchester General Hospital has been put under special measures and the police have been alerted after a report by the Care Quality Commission highlighted delays in treatment for cancer patients and the falsification of records at the staff. Staff say they were bullied into changing data to stay within national guidelines. Our health and social care correspondent Victoria MacDonald is at the hospital. Victoria.
Yes, there are fireworks going on over my head as we speak, but there are no celebrations in the hospital tonight. This is a damning report. Falsification of cancer patient records and bullying of junior staff. Now, this is what appears to have happened. There is a standard within the NHS that cancer patients' treatment must start within 62 days. It looks as if that wasn't happening in some cases, and so data was changed. And we have learned that there are some emails which actually show that this bullying was happening. It was written down. Now, all of this, the falsification of the data and the bullying, has now been sent to Essex Police, and they are looking into whether there should be a criminal investigation. It was a tip-off from worried staff that led to a series of CQC unannounced inspections during the summer, and the subsequent report makes disturbing reading. The inspectors looked at 61 patient records. 22 appeared to have been deliberately changed. This, the report said, showed that people had been placed at risk of receiving care that was unsafe or not effective due to delays in receiving appointments or treatment. What the report appears to show is that patients did not get their treatment within the required 62 days, and in 3 cases, they had to wait more than 100 days.
I think I was disturbed about several things. I was disturbed about the fact that patients were having delays in their treatment and care. That clearly is very important. I was disturbed about these allegations that these delays may be being covered up. That is equally important in terms of how well-led a trust is.
It has also now been revealed that the Trust had held its own internal investigation into problems on the cancer unit in February 2012, but it was, the Chief Executive now admits, not followed through.
In 2012, I've already said, there was a review done by 2 of my executives. That review was not adequate, and we need to find out why, and we need to tackle it. And I could have done more in terms of following up and getting into more detail on that review. There will be a review done by the board, which will get to the full details of this, and people will be held to account. That review will look at all levels of the trust.
Now, we understand that 30 patients or their next of kin have now been written to, and that they are being offered a re-examination of their treatment. There is a slightly happier note in some ways, if you can put it like that. This was part of a new regime that's been set up by the Care Quality Commission, a new inspector of hospitals, and it was under that new regime that they listened to the whistleblowers, they took heed of what was coming in, they went into the hospital, and they appear to have found out what was going on.
Victoria in Colchester, thank you very much. Well, I'm joined now by the Labour MP Anne Clwyd, who co-authored a review into the handling of NHS complaints commissioned by the Prime Minister David Cameron after the failings at the Mid-Staffordshire NHS Trust. And clearly the scale of the Mid-Staffs scandal was horrifying, and we don't know all the details in Colchester yet. But once again, patients have suffered serious risk. That's the allegation. How many more of these scandals have we got to hear about?
Well, I'm afraid several more. Since I did my review last week, I brought out a report on how to deal with NHS complaints. And Sir Mike Richards, by the way, is going to be very much involved. He is going to make it a key point of his investigations when he goes into hospitals, how complaints are going to be handled. But since the review was published a week ago, we've had about 180 emails, we've had about 80 letters, loads of phone calls. So the stories are still coming in.
From all different parts of the country?
From all different parts of the country, yes, from England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. So, you know, no area is immune from all of this, but it is shocking.
Well, one of the key recommendations from your report was that staff listen to patients. Here in Colchester, it appears that, that staff raised concerns, the Trust then failed to act. How confident are you, after your report, that things will actually change now?
Well, what we've done is not, you know, lots of people have written reports before, very good reports. We haven't brought a rabbit out of the hat. we have managed to, we think, hardwire into our recommendations actions as a result, so that everybody about, all the important key players, the CQC, all the health bodies, patient organisations, have all said they will implement our recommendations. And we've also got the threat that in a year's time we'll be back to see exactly what's happened. It's not going to gather dust. I'm absolutely determined about that, as too many reports have done before.
Well, exactly 6 reports, including yours, since the Francis report into the mid-staff scandal, and yet we keep on hearing about these scandals.
Yes, well, these reports are quite new, and we haven't seen the action yet which these reports recommend. And of course, the government is still to respond to Francis formally, and that, I think, will happen before the end of the month.
How much are government targets to blame, in your view?
Well, obviously, some trusts are under great pressure to deliver. But I don't know the answer to that, frankly, because we didn't look at that. But certainly it was mentioned to us in letters. Remember, we had 2,500 emails and letters in the time we were doing the review. And they're still coming. Not a day goes by, but, on my phone, I get yet another email from somebody, and not just once, but twice, but 3 times. And they're all allegations of shocking care, which is deeply concerning, obviously.
Well, your husband tragically died because, as you put it, he suffered an almost callous lack of care in the NHS. What is it like for families like those in Colchester who find that care has fallen tragically short?
Well, I think it's very difficult for people. Many people don't complain because they're afraid of complaining. That came out very clearly in evidence to us. And then people who do complain, and sometimes they do it many years later, but when they do complain, they find the whole process really devastating in itself. It's not simple. And particularly, we've had allegations of records being changed when people have got serious complaints. The same kind of thing you're talking about in Colchester, people have said that is happening elsewhere as well. And obviously that's got to stop. Whistleblowers have got to be protected, and whistleblowers who've blown the whistle in the past, we must make sure that they're adequately compensated and taken care of.
Anne Clwyd, thank you very much for joining me.